Famous auction house Christie's is back appraising art in the DIA. Does it mean it's headed for the auction block? Let's first address some of the words that Kevin Orr said this week.
He didn't say fat.
He didn't say fat, don't be lazy.
Say fat. I thought he did.
Did he?
I don't know.
No, he didn't. Well, you know, his choice of words probably unfortunate and allowed him to become unnecessarily a flashpoint and a distraction. But what he's saying, you know, it's hard to argue with. Detroit certainly was negligent in dealing with its problems. It was in denial. It could have acted a long time ago to get ahead of many of these problems. A very excellent blog on the debtnews.com site by Bill Johnson, who details the many times over the years they tried to do pension reform that would have headed out this crisis, and either council, the unions, or the mayor killed that. And then they're sitting here, oh gosh, what happened to us? I think the point Kevin Orr is trying to make is you didn't take care of your business, and now I've got to come in and I have to do it.
I think it's interesting, Kevin Orr gave an interview, I think it was to Reuters, and they asked him about his political aspirations, and he said zero, and after what he's been doing in Detroit, like -0.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a classic sort of mistake by somebody who's not used to being in the public eye. All of a sudden, Kevin Orr is sitting in front of editorial boards in New York and in Detroit talking about things that normally he would be behind closed doors, you know, as a lawyer trying to figure out how to get those things, and people make mistakes. A couple things about this were interesting to me. One is that he said that same thing in response to a question that I asked him during his first visit to the Free Press editorial board back in the spring, and I said, how do you think Detroit got to this point? And he said, you know, it seems to me that people here were pretty rich and happy and lazy for a long time and didn't see the change that needed to be done to get to stay competitive. That sounds a lot different in that context than it did in the Journal article.
So let's talk a little bit about the fact that the Christie's is appraising the art at the DIA. What should we make of that? And again, Kevin Orr has been honest in saying nothing is off the table.
Well, and that's what we should make of it, that this is bankruptcy, and this is what bankruptcy looks like. It's very uncertain, unpredictable. He's got a responsibility to make sure he knows what everything the city owns is worth. The creditors expect that. The creditors want to know that. And I don't think we should be surprised by anything that happens.
Well, I mean, I think actually bankruptcy is very predictable. I mean, the whole idea of bankruptcy in the federal context is that it's a uniform code. And one of the rules is, you know, you can't hide your mother's china in the attic. It's an asset. You have to value it. You have to rationalize it in a way that says, I'm either going to leverage this for some cash to help pay my creditors, or here's why I won't do that. Now, is Kevin Orr going to go into court and make the argument that, look, this is something that's off the table and that we won't we won't get cash out of? I think that would be a very hard thing.
Under Chapter 9, the court can't make a city dispose of its assets, but it certainly can reject a plan that the court feels is hiding assets or not using the assets the way they should.
Totally forthcoming.
And the flip side of that, though, is does Steve Rhodes, who's you know, the bankruptcy judge, but who lives here, does he want to be the federal judge who sold the Van Goghs out of the DIA? I mean, I think people underestimate the value that judges place on, you know, I mean, their lives, and he's part of this community too. That will also play some role here.
All right, well, let's move on a little bit.